All right, I've got a really slick, super polished presentation here in the form of a markdown file.
Markdown presentation.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the serverless Slack bot. People have been talking about the serverless thing for a little while, and I think it's interesting. So we've seen these big shifts. Can you guys see this at all? No, I didn't think so. Is that better? One more. I'm losing my eyesight too. It's cool. Ben, your computer's weird. Is that good? Okay. So we've seen these things happen, and we'd like to think that messaging is going to be a thing. I hope it's a thing. I'm betting on it. And we're seeing all these different terms, but what we're talking about is bots. And bots effectively are this ephemeral agent that acts on your behalf. It doesn't have to be this long-form conversational thing. And part of the reason this is interesting is because we're getting these platforms. And all these platforms share an interesting characteristic in that they're effectively webhooks. Slack, HipChat, Messenger, Telegram, Kik, whatever. So it's kind of like a pendulum. In the 90s, we were really stoked on servers because of the web. In the early 2000s, we were stoked on clients because JavaScript became possibly acceptable to use on the client with Google Maps. Mid-2000s, APIs became a big deal, and we swung back to the server. Around 2007, mobile became a big deal, and we got back on the client. And now we're writing servers again. Bots are just freaky web servers, which is kind of interesting. So simultaneously, the smallest unit of compute has become a function. And this is really significant. The metaphor that we've used in the cloud up to this point has been a server, which kind of makes no sense. When we're scaling, we end up having a whole bunch of these things behind a load balancer, and it's a pain to scale. So the cloud came along, and with the cloud, we've got these ideas of Lambda functions, and it's accelerating. If you look at this thing on the side, we're getting more and more of these things as time goes on. Functions are cheap. You get about 1 million requests per month for free. So let that sink in. It's free to do computing now. It's kind of a big deal. I totally don't understand Microsoft's pricing, by the way. I have to talk to someone about that. So I'm working on a thing called Begin. We chose Lambda. We didn't choose it because we think it's better. We chose it because it was easy and accessible. I think you would be fine to choose any of these solutions if you're interested in them, so I recommend you actually try them all. People think that the exciting thing is that compute just got free. The exciting thing to me is that not so much that it's free to do this, because there's always a business case to build a server. The exciting thing to me is that my deployment time is now in seconds. So let that one sink in. So right now, if I want to deploy a new bot instance, it takes me roughly 3 to 5 seconds. That's a huge accelerant to market. That's unheard of up to this point. This is a competitive advantage for your team, and this means that bots actually have an advantage over traditional delivery vehicles for software. So yeah, that's really all I had to talk about. Bots are freaky web servers, except for you don't need to run a server anymore. Thanks.